MeMonster.
Chapter 111. I extended my hand. A single grain of sand, carried by the wind, settled onto my palm. The heat beat down on my skin. The air was hot and humid, just as I expected, matching the weather of this scorching desert. "It's hot," Velkis muttered, squinting his eyes. "But what is this woman doing? She seems to have a request for us." Sensing the change, Priasis, who had been kneeling quietly, half opened her eyes. Her golden irises locked onto me. You been well, little one?" Her eyes trembled. "Weren't you looking for me? I came all this way for you." "The people that were in front of me, they are resting at home, sound asleep. Don't worry about them." "I can't understand. Did you use magic?" "No, even with magic, now is not the time to chit-chat, is it?" "Cirque." A sword emerged from its sheath. I spoke while extending the sword. "First, we need to clear out those over there." On the other side of the street, hundreds of lizardmen were forming a crowd, heading toward the refugee procession. The distance between both sides was shrinking by the moment. "If we can buy some time for the people to escape, that should do it, right? It's a mission I like," Jenna said, drawing her bow from her back. Velkis and Nerissa followed suit, unsheathing their weapons. "No time to spare. Let's move." I immediately started walking in one direction. The other 4 members of Party 1 followed. "Do you intend to grant my request?" Priasis chased after me with hesitant steps. "Can't you see? We're going." I took out a vial of blue liquid from my pouch, heat-resistant potion. To anything, it would appear as a regular potion. I opened the lid and took a sip. The other 4 also drank their potions. Quest in progress. Party 1 leader, Han, 3 stars, suggests starting a subquest. Will you accept? Yes. Ding. Starting the subquest. Floor 25, subquest. Mission type: Defense. Objective: buy time for the refugees to escape. Special objective: survival of NPC Priasis Alragna. The preparations were complete. The rest will be wiped out. "I have so much to say to you, I can't even count them." Priasis smiled faintly. "But I won't get in your way. Thank you for your help." "You understand well. Stay behind us. Don't step forward." "All right." She listens well. I do have quite a bit to say to this girl, but it's not the right time. I also express my gratitude to the other warriors. The others I saw back then were quite noticeable. "Hello," Jenna grinned. Eloka nodded gracefully. "The 2 who used a spear and a dagger, Edis and Aaron, are alive and well. They're somewhere else." "Everyone is safe? That's a relief." "We're moving in soon. Be careful." The end of the alleyway was in sight. Priasis nodded with a tensed expression. "This is the real deal." Crash. Clatter, clatter. The sound of boiling from the narrow wall on the opposite side could be heard. It was the distinctive cry of the lizardmen. I reached for the dagger sheathed on my belt with my left hand. "Do you have anything else to say? Can't we just sweep them away in front? But don't rush ahead alone." I stopped walking. At the same time, the group halted. The alleyway took a turn in the opposite direction. Their cries were clear. They were right in front of us. I pointed at Priasis, then gestured toward a trash can. Priasis rushed over and crouched behind it. Next, I extended 3 fingers. 3, 2, 1. Charge! We dashed out of the alleyway. "Ah! Save us! Save us!" Crash! Crash! The screams of humans and the chilling cries of the lizardmen mixed together, forming a gruesome symphony. The eyes of a lizard man who had been stabbing a fallen woman on the roadside with a sword met mine. Yellow eyes with elongated pupils quivered in their sockets. Kirk! Thud. The dagger that I threw pierced the lizard man's eye to the hilt. Keek! I lowered my posture and rushed forward. As the great sword swung horizontally, the lizardman's neck flew into the air. The headless body tilted to the ground, spewing blood like a fountain. It wasn't just one. I quickly adjusted my stance and thrust twice. 2 lizardmen, unaware of the situation, were impaled by my sword and fell lifeless. 17 level 21 lizardmen. 17 of them. Clear them within 10 seconds. Understood. Pop, pop, pop. Arrows were released as soon as they were knocked on Jenna's shortbow. 3 arrows hit 3 targets in rapid succession. Nerissa used her daggers to finish off the 3 wounded lizardmen that Jenna had hit. It's chaotic out here. The weather doesn't help. Eloka muttered. The street was already a mess of human and lizardman corpses. Buildings were ablaze. If it weren't for the potions you gave us, things could have gone south. Anyway, you said it was versatile. Eloka began casting a spell. Her lips moved, and in the next moment, quack, quack, quack! Flames exploded. The 2 lizardmen caught in the explosion turned to dust and vanished. High-speed chant. Eloka had recently mastered a new spell of the fire magic class. Kira-la-la-la-la! A lizardman leaped and swung a polearm. Standing around 2 meters tall, its slender body moved flexibly. I swung my sword to counter. Big Forst's thick blade sliced through the polearm with ease, and then cleaved the creature's torso in one swell swoop. The upper half of the lizardman's body flew into the sky, spewing blood and organs. It feels good to finally stretch my limbs. Very satisfying, Velkis chuckled. The street was already covered in blood. A woman crouching nearby muttered absent-mindedly, "How on earth did this happen? They still can't see us." The complexion of the woman who had been looking at the bloodstains turned pale. "Ghost! Is there a ghost?" "It's not a ghost." From an alleyway, Priasis appeared. She spoke with a stern expression. "If you stay here, you'll die. Go to the east gate." "And you? What on earth just happened?" "They're protecting us." Priasis glanced briefly at us. "It seems like only I can see them. Are you controlling these monsters?" "I don't have that kind of power. I just made a request." A soldier emerged from the group of survivors. "Don't make me laugh. I know who you are. Priasis, the Empire's traitor. You summon demons by selling your soul, and that transparent monster over there, Book." The soldier struck hard in the back of his head, collapsed. Behind him, a young woman holding a shovel was breathing heavily. "You soldiers, using nobles as a shield to flee. Anyway, thanks. All we have to do is run to the gate, right?" Priasis nodded. The woman looked around at the survivors and spoke. "Everyone, let's go." "All right. Whether it's a demon or a ghost, thanks to you, we're alive. We won't forget." The people formed a procession and began heading towards the eastern gate. Seeing this, Priasis sighed. "It seems like it worked somehow, but this place is not safe. 93 level 21 lizardmen, 5 level 25 lizardmen shamans." Across the main road, nearly 100 lizardmen were gathering in groups and coming our way. "How much time do we have left?" I looked at the bottom of the quest window. The timer was displayed so small that it wouldn't be visible without focusing. 10 minutes. Isn't the number a bit too much? Priasis's expression stiffened. Kirk. The head of a human wearing a helmet was impaled on the spears of the leading lizardmen. Priasis clenched her teeth. "We have to hold on for just 10 minutes, and then we can leave. Keep our movements to a minimum. Spread out the distance. It'll be difficult if we get surrounded." The field was linear. As long as we defended well from the front, there was no need to worry about being attacked from behind. It was a better situation than the 5th floor, where we had to defend 3 places. "Look, do you see the red-eyed lizard? We just need to defeat that one." "Yeah, it's annoying if we leave it alone." Boom, boom, boom. The sound of drums began to echo. It seemed like the lizardmen in the rear were beating drums. Kirk. Kiralak. Both sides stopped, leaving a 10-meter gap between them. A lizard man wearing a red feathered robe and holding a curved staff walked to the front of the formation. He spoke in the human language from his protruding mouth. Krek! Humans who reject order. Krek! I will bring divine punishment to this unholy land. Thrack! An arrow flew rapidly and pierced the chieftain's throat. Thud! The lizard-man chieftain's body slumped forward. Should we kill those guys? Correct. I chuckled and adjusted my sword. Kia! Kia! Life drained from the eyes of the lizard-men in unison. Why so much talk when we're here to fight? Come at us! Do-do-do-do. Hundreds of lizard-men began charging, kicking up dust. Are you sure about this, Han? There are so many. We don't have to take them all at once. You're the one who asked for this, and now you're complaining? I readied my sword. 100 of them. Just handle 20 each. It's simple. But you can watch from behind. There's an undeniable difference between me on the 15th floor and me now. But it's not just me. The members of the first party were the same. Ignite. Explode. Whoosh! Flames erupted from Yoloka's feet and engulfed the front of the lizardmen. At the same time, boom! A violent explosion accompanied the intense flames. Even if they were desert lizardmen, accustomed to heat, they couldn't withstand the flames. The burnt bodies of the lizardmen were carried away by the wind. The flames, undeterred by the explosion, blazed fiercely on the street. Let's go in. That was the plan. I ran forward with Velkist. We were heading towards the blazing street. Ping! 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 Even amidst all this, Jenna's arrow sliced through the air. She didn't hold back, and lizardmen hit by her arrow bombardment fell like straw bundles. Jenna had more than 100 spare arrows in her expanded quiver. Kia! Kia! A lizardman with his leg on fire swung his spear. There was no need to dodge. I raised my sword from below, cutting through the lizardman's scales and tearing him apart. Skill awakening. Han, 3 stars, has acquired the Power Strike skill. Good. Power Strike. I knew I'd get it. It was a simple yet powerful skill that added to your attack power. Skill awakening. Velkist, 3 stars, low-rank swordsmanship, has reached level 10. Velkist, 3 stars, low-rank swordsmanship, has reached its maximum level. The second awakening followed. It was Velkist's. No matter how hard you practice, there's no substitute for real combat. Velkist's swordplay, which beheaded lizardmen, gained even more speed. I also picked up the pace. Lizardmen fell one by one, spewing blood. We fought amidst the flames. Yoloka's flames gradually spread, skillfully devouring the field. The lizardmen burned out like moths drawn to the flame. Nerissa's rapier pierced the lizardmen who broke through the wall of flames. Lizardmen shamans were sniped by Jenna almost simultaneously. Is this the 25th one? The flaming sword tore through the lizardman. I quickly scanned the battlefield to find the next target. Then I stepped out of the fiery zone. They're all dead. 5 minutes ago, there were 100 lizardmen here, but now they had all vanished without a trace. 4 minutes, 38 seconds left. They had all turned into lifeless corpses on the street. Sizzle. The smoke and the smell of burning flesh tickled my nose. Quite an easy job, isn't it? They're no different than scarecrows, Velkist remarked. These bastards are weaker than I expected, I chuckled. Priasis was looking at us with a vacant expression. Chapter 112. The burning streets were littered with lizardman corpses. Click, click. A lizardman, pierced by 2 arrows, writhed in pain. With a blank expression, Velkist ended its life. You've become unbelievably strong, Priasis said, her voice trembling. Burn marks covered her cheek. It's like night and day compared to back then. What in the world happened? It's hard to put into words, I replied, sitting amidst the debris of a shattered building. Moreover, you haven't changed a bit in my memories. It's already been 3 years.
But you've changed a lot, I said. Although she still had traces of youth, it was hard to call her a kid anymore. 3 years, huh? From my perspective, it hadn't even been half a year since I cleared the 15th floor, at most 2 months. But for Priasis, it seemed much longer. Is it over? Velkist murmured. I shook my head. Across the street, the sound of drums echoed. I raised my hand to my holster, ready to draw my sword at any moment. Giki alala! 31 level 22 lizard men appeared at the intersection. Kar, human! A human is here! Their eyes, once full of vitality, now scanned the area. The streets were a mountain of lizardman corpses, maybe around 120. Their blood pooled on the ground. Velkist, covered in blood from head to toe, chuckled. The next offerings have arrived. Dung! Dung! The lizardmen suddenly changed direction, as if they hadn't seen us, and disappeared. Velkist frowned. What's this? They probably have emotions too, Nerissa said, fastening her sword to her belt. The drumming moved further away. This is bad. I might have been too aggressive. I didn't expect them to be this weak. 3 minutes and 21 seconds had passed, and there was still no sign of reinforcements. I released my grip on my sword. Jenna scratched her cheek. Is it over with 100? It didn't feel too difficult. Have we become stronger? It seems like it, I replied. Because we'd been doing high-difficulty missions, we hadn't noticed the change. Our party, including me, had become significantly stronger. A level 21 lizard man was no weak monster, at least a few steps above goblins. There were several reasons for this. The geographical advantage, proper formation during battles with fire, but moves decisively. Is it a condition that we have no choice but to get stronger? If we had been weak, we would have died in other missions a long time ago. Because we've experienced difficult missions, we've trained desperately to survive. It would be a joke if our skills hadn't improved. Nerissa, I'd like you to scout. There probably isn't anything special, though. Understood. Nerissa stepped onto a wooden barrel and leaped onto the roof, disappearing from my sight. If anything happened, she would report immediately. The rest of us can rest. It seems like the mission is over. How boring, Aloka sighed, sitting down, sweat beading on her forehead. Even if we take medicine, the weather isn't great. Sis, let's go over there. Why? I like it here. Come on, let's go. Opavel, too. That's annoying. Don't call me that. Let's go. Let go of me. What is it? Jenna dragged Aloka and Velkist into an alley, leaving only Priasis and me. It was an unnecessary gesture, but I didn't mind. I looked at Priasis, who sat on a broken pillar with her knees bent. How have you been all this time? She asked. I've been doing well, I replied vaguely. Life in the waiting room was hard to explain. I thought I was dead, those beast folk. They joined us recently. I haven't been back long, so I don't know them well. We'll probably see them often in the future. I see. Are they your new comrades? Priasis muttered, as if contemplating. Then, in a calm tone, she recounted what happened after we parted. As expected, after escaping the city, Priasis became a high-priority fugitive, pursued by countless enemies, interrogators from the church and bounty hunters after the reward. The crises were endless. You managed not to get caught? I have a tough neck, Priasis smiled bitterly. It was possible because you helped me. Is it about what happened in the city? No, Priasis shook her head. One of the 4 great houses, the Halcyon, actively pursued me. If you hadn't helped, I wouldn't have lasted long. The fact that their area turned to ruins was unexpected, but... So that's how it happened. According to Nerissa, the Halcyon family was connected to the sect, Priasis's enemy. There seemed to be a connection even on the 20th floor. The strange atmosphere in the mansion couldn't be pinpointed, but... So why did you come here? It's like a desert. That's right. This place is a vast desert called Silkia. I came here to find something. Something? Yes, what I saw in my dream. They call it a key. What are you going to do with that? Isn't it obvious? To save the continent. I swallowed a bitter laugh. I thought talk of saving the continent was just a childish whim, but she hadn't given up. In fact, her determination seemed stronger than before. So what exactly is this key? I don't know for sure, I just have a feeling. I think I'll figure it out as I gather things together. You're still talking in riddles. It was like this when we first met, talking about dreams and the world in vague terms. It was nerve-wracking, but I had no way to understand it either. This girl. She had already appeared in the main mission twice. There were vague connections in other missions as well. I thought about the village layout. 3 entrances, the West Gate, the North Gate, and the East Gate. The refugees fled through the East Gate, away from the desert, but Prius's escape route was the North Gate. So you're going to find that key thing? I chuckled. I think I'll see you often in the future. 000-000-222. Quest success. A message appeared in my field of vision. Quest success. There were no attacks after the initial assault. Mission has changed. Mission type, escape. Notice, since this is a quest that has already been cleared, adjustments will be applied. Enemies disappear. A bright light flashed in the sky. What's that? Don't worry about it, I replied shortly. On the opposite side of the street, lizard men turned into light and vanished. It probably wasn't visible to Prius. Let's head out. We're going through the North Gate, right? That's right. Are you ready? I have all the basic items taken care of. Prius glanced at her bulging white leather backpack. I'm done talking. You can come out. 3 people walked out of the alley. What did you talk about? Why, are you curious? It's just idle chatter with no real content. And that's fine, Velkist replied curtly, scanning the surroundings. The corpses are gone. Oh, really? They're gone. It's clean, Aloka said, eyes wide. Whenever I'm with you, strange things always happen, Prius remarked.
That's true. I laughed and continued walking. There was no need to delay. The monsters were gone, and after guiding them to the North Gate, my job was done. As I walked, I pondered this mysterious world, so much like a mobile game. Priasis al Ragnar. I recalled the 15th floor. We weren't the first party to challenge it. Back when we were on strike, the previous third party, formed by anything with paid summons, had attempted the challenge. They were wiped out due to mission failure. In other words, Priasis has died at least once. The current Priasis was the second event. No, maybe the third. The mission process had changed due to this subquest. It's an unknown place, I sighed. It hadn't been ordinary from the beginning. This world, which seemed to mock the laws of reality, felt like it was created for a game. People who should be dead were alive and well, lives disappeared without warning, and cause and effect repeated and overlapped. The more I delved into it, the less I understood. In the end, I gave up pondering it. Regardless, I'll return alive. My course of action remained unchanged. I hurried my steps. The North Gate was getting closer. At the village entrance, where the desert stretched beyond the horizon, we stopped. We couldn't go any further together. An invisible barrier blocked our way. Will we see each other again? Priasis asked before leaving. On the next floor. The next floor? It means we'll meet again soon. In that case, I'm relieved. Priasis smiled gently and looked back at us. I'm grateful for your help. I won't give up. I'll definitely live up to your expectations. Priasis's figure faded away beyond the door. Quest clear. Han, 3 stars. Jenna, 3 stars. Iloka, 3 stars. Velkist, 3 stars. Narissa, 3 stars. Level up. Reward, 100,000 gold. MVP, Jenna, 3 stars. Special reward. A bonus stage will be unlocked. Bonus stages can be attempted in the rift of time and space. Limit, 1 opportunity, 1 person only. Is it over? Yes, it's over. The village landscape was engulfed in light. Jenna put away her bow and chuckled. There wasn't anything special this time. I hope the 30th floor is like this. It's even more ominous. From my experience, if the front is easy, the back is tough. What do you think? I agree. No effort in your response. The light grew brighter and enveloped us. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a familiar place. I immediately disbanded the party. No one was injured, but it had been a long business trip. Fatigue must have built up. The members left without a word, heading upstairs through the rift of time and space. Of course, I stayed on the first floor. I can't leave it behind. Han, 3 stars, suggests, request, complete the bonus stage. Will you accept? Yes. Anything must have been curious too, as she accepted right away. I started the bonus stage strategy. Only one opportunity. It was a quest for one person. The field was a labyrinth. There were no special rewards for the bonus stage, just a complex maze with twists and turns. No monsters or traps. I explored, memorizing the labyrinth structure. After about an hour, I found the exit. Bonus stage, clear. Reward, 5,000 gold. There really was nothing, not even a common treasure chest at the exit. Is it a dud? No, it couldn't be. Anyway, I had completed all the missions for the 25th floor. Starting tomorrow, I'll continue climbing the 26th floor. A desert. It seems the field won't change this time. If my prediction is correct, the mission for the 25th floor was just the beginning. As I said before, if it's easy in the front, it's tough in the back. I know this game well. I laughed and left the rift of time and space.
Chapter 113. The next day, we began climbing the tower. We proved the main party's strength had returned by clearing the 25th floor quest. With no reason to hesitate, anything led us straight into the rift of space and time. Floor 26. Mission type, escort. Objective, protect the designated individual. The field was a desert. The mission was just as expected. Beneath the scorching sun, I reunited with Priasis in the desert. She wandered aimlessly, her body draped in a thin layer of silk. "Aren't you dead?" It had only been a day for me, but much more time had passed for her. Priasis turned her gaze toward us. "As you can see, I'm alive. Though I was prepared, it's been tough in its own way," she replied, her voice tired. Her once bulging bag was now only half full. I tossed her a bundle I'd brought from the waiting room. Priasis hesitated, then accepted it. "It contains heat-resistant potions, water, and food. Use them well." "I owe you a debt of gratitude." Priasis opened the heat-resistant potion with sweaty hands. I hadn't made these items. Anything must have studied desert survival basics and ordered the alchemist on the second floor to make them. There was no need for information manipulation anymore. "I'm seeing this woman again. What's the mission this time?" "It's simple. Follow Priasis and protect her. You know the destination, right? Don't get lost. I've seen it in my dreams several times. Just follow the signs." Priasis pointed to the endless horizon beyond the high dunes. "Sign? I don't see it." "It doesn't matter, as long as she knows the way. Let's drink these first." We drank the heat-resistant potions. Tips, special potion. Heat-resistant potion prevents dehydration and heat stroke. However, its effectiveness may be reduced during vigorous activity. NB. A refreshing sensation flowed through our bodies. Despite the scorching sun, I felt much better. I tossed the empty bottle aside and reached for my sword. Beyond the next hill, a distinct cry rang out. "They're coming to greet us." 15 level 24 lizard men. A message appeared indicating the arrival of enemies. Nerissa climbed the hill and said, "They're in better shape than last time. They seem to be elite soldiers. Perfect for post-meal exercise. Get ready, everyone." Swoosh. I drew my sword. Gyaa! The upper bodies of the lizard men flew through the air with pitiful cries. The 18th one. It didn't take more than 3 minutes to deal with all of them. We encountered a few more groups along the way, but defeated them one by one and continued through the desert. "The Imperial Guards weren't even bad like this," Priasis remarked, watching us. Half a day passed like this. After crossing 3 hills, stage clear. Velkist 3 stars, Nerissa 3 stars, leveled up. Reward, 50,000 gold, Essence of the Desert. MVP, Han, 3 stars. The stage-clear message appeared. I sheathed my sword. Night was falling on the yellow desert. Light enveloped us. I turned to Priasis, who was looking at me. See you on the next floor. Understood, Han. On the next floor. Priasis smiled lightly and waved. The background blurred, and we returned through the rift of space and time. I don't understand the meaning of this mission. Is it just about following the girl around? Velkist grumbled. Girl, be careful with your words, Velkist, Nerissa scolded. Velkist sulked. How great can she be? Is she the princess of the empire or something? That's correct. Obviously not. Huh? What did you say? Velkist's face turned bewildered. I chuckled and left the rift of space and time. The next day, the exploration continued. This time, the field was a desert at night. We needed cold-resistant potions to ward off freezing temperatures, even in the desert. There were similarities to the previous mission. Lizard men appeared, and we fought fierce battles against them. As we ventured deeper, their numbers increased. Kirk, those who disrupt the order, kill them! Kill them! Keralrak! Lizard men have entered a frenzied state. They weren't just simple enemies. They rushed at us with clear hatred. Monsters were rampaging across the continent. What happened in the desert village was just a small part of it. Priasis looked at the scattered lizard man corpses. We don't have much time. We need to hurry. Her silver hair shimmered in the moonlight. If my dream is correct, there's less than 10 years until destruction. You said you didn't know what the keys were for. Why collect them? It's a kind of proof. The keys are items passed down only in the Empire's founding myth. If I can obtain them, they'll lend me their power. If they will. The acid is family, Priasis said, her expression determined. They are one of the 4 great families and the Empire's strongest military force. I made a promise to them to prove my worth. To do that, I have to make the impossible possible. And collecting the keys is that impossible task? That's right. Her answer came without hesitation. I clicked my tongue and hurried my steps. But why are you helping me? I have nothing to give you. I'm out of money. All I have now is this wretched body. I don't expect anything in return. Her small, silver-haired shoulders trembled. Don't misunderstand. It's just that the mission turned out this way. Anyway, thank you. I glanced back. Jenna and Olka were whispering and giggling as they looked at us. Just as expected, huh? Yeah, I think so too. It's like a painting. The Empire's princess and the bodyguard protecting her. It's like something out of a book. What's so funny? Include me in your conversation. Huh? Just a moment ago you were in front. Oh, ow, 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 ow! I hate misunderstandings the most. Remember that. Oh no, you can say things like that? Why are you singling me out? Jenna had already distanced herself and was whistling. Another 30 minutes passed. Stage clear. Han, 3 stars. Jenna, 3 stars. Olka, 3 stars, leveled up. Reward, 50,000 gold, 2B grade desert lizard scales. MVP, Han, 3 stars. The stage 27th was cleared without issue. Light emanated from our bodies, signaling our return. Priasis looked back. Han, is it on the next floor? It might not be. We're not the only ones here. Our vision was covered in light. We returned to the waiting room. When I looked up, white light crisscrossed the sky. They won't send only one party. You can't complete a mission by focusing on just one party. During the 20th floor subjection battle, the entire assault force was nearly wiped out due to another party's mistake. Anything would have noticed that. If he didn't learn from it, he'd be a fool. The next evening, 3rd party, prepare for the mission. Assemble on the 1st floor. Islow's booming voice echoed through the waiting room. This time, the 3rd party took part in the expedition. Their goal was, of course, to advance up the tower. Kashasha and her group, who would lead Priasis instead of us, could be seen leaving through the door outside the training grounds.
Her personality may be strange, but she'll do well. At least Kishasha knew what to do and what not to do. We could put our worries aside. We had our own tasks. "One more, senior!" Inside the training grounds, Velkist's eyes were determined. "Don't hold back. Go!" I closed the training grounds door and headed to the sparring area. Velkist, after reaching lower-level weapons skill level 10, was training relentlessly. He had realized the presence of a massive wall. Sparring with Ridgeon was valuable. The effects were greater than expected. Now, I could share some of my knowledge with Velkist. I had no intention of giving boring lectures about realms and hearts, but my way of helping was the same: hit, crash, and destroy. Only my movements had changed. Velkist grew stronger day by day. The warrior job advancement was also complete. During my visit to Niflheimer, the job advancement facilities had been prepared. The facility level was still low, so we could only advance to the 3 basic jobs. Still, it wasn't a bad choice. Velkist was already a 3-star warrior, and Nerissa was a 3-star rogue. That morning, I heard the news that the 28th floor had been cleared. The next day, we weren't the ones to conquer the 29th floor either. This time, it was the second mission. 2 veterans and 3 rookies participated. The rookies left with nervous faces and returned looking defeated. Anyway, with this, we had completed the conquest up to the 29th floor. Next was the boss stage on the 30th floor. It was expected to be a challenging mission, since the 25th floor had been relatively easy. However, anything didn't send us straight into battle. All 15 of us on the 3rd floor, including me, hadn't reached the appropriate level yet. There was a grind waiting for us. The 28th floor. The other floors were linked to quests, so we couldn't retry them. Anything took turns sending us to the 28th floor. The mission was to annihilate the Lizardmen tribe on the other side of a desert hill. Priasis didn't appear, and we gained experience by sweeping away the Lizardmen, up to level 30. In that battle, I raised my intermediate weapon skill to level 2. Anything had diligently prepared for other aspects of the conquest. First, he nurtured the 2 preparatory parties on the 2nd floor, the 4th and 5th parties. Since the 25th floor was a small-scale mission, the 30th floor was likely to be large-scale. Anything trained them while synthesizing others from the 1st floor. Come to think of it, Edis told me there was an incident where several 1st floor members conspired to steal supplies from the weekly dungeon. The main items were meat and fruit. Instead of putting the loot into the dimensional portal, they kept it for themselves. Naturally, they were caught. Half were immediately synthesized and the rest were trapped in isolation, awaiting disposal. I recalled the incident when I left the 20th floor. The trash that had surrounded and threatened me. Is it them? It wasn't something I needed to worry about. Anyway, this waiting room also had more than 100 heroes. Now it was time to move on to the next phase, with a slightly more advanced method. First, we need to break through the 30th floor. I leaned back in my chair. It was late evening and the lantern on the desk cast a yellowish light. A tingling sensation brushed my chest. That feeling always came before a boss stage, a unique, sharp sense that signaled danger. A week at most. My current level is 29. Preparations for the conquest will soon be complete. Anything wouldn't hesitate. It's a foolish thing when you think of it. I chuckled lightly. I had chosen Townia. I'd taken the thorny path instead of the easy one. I don't regret it, but there will always be hardships ahead. The black ring on my left hand emitted a dark light. I turned the ring to the left and then, "Master!" A familiar voice gently touched my ears. A soft voice like a gentle breeze. It was Yernit's voice. "I thought you would contact me as soon as you left. I'm sad. The content wasn't gentle, though."
Chapter 114. It's a joke. A bad joke for the heart. I smirked as Yernet's voice continued. The fact that the master contacted like this. Yeah, we're heading to the boss stage soon. Just in case, I'm letting you know in advance. Does that mean there's a possibility of an accident? It's not entirely impossible. I had already explained to Yernet about Tonya and its difficulty. She had strongly opposed my return after hearing the story, but I managed to persuade her somehow. Got it. I don't plan to use it much, though. Using it during the mission had significant penalties. It consumes 3 uses at once, and according to Yernet, summoning weapons also took time. Most importantly, it exposed my identity to anything and the others. It was an ability that couldn't be used lightly. I won't use it during the mission, unless it's a life-or-death situation. After reaffirming my decision, I continued speaking. The topic wasn't anything special, just Niflheim's current situation and what happened after I returned. I was told that Nihaku, who had returned suddenly after hearing the news, was greatly disappointed. I just laughed it off. If the master allows it, how about assigning Nihaku to Tonya? No. As expected. A light chuckle could be heard. Anyway, Master, please take care of yourself. Your life doesn't belong to just you anymore. Don't worry, I don't even have the slightest intention of dying. I'll contact you later. You mustn't forget, absolutely not. I understand. I'll let you know as soon as I return. It won't be as disappointing as last time. That's a relief. Then I turned the ring to the right. The flow of magic that had surrounded my body dispersed. On the desk were several sheets of paper. These were preemptive strategies I had written, predicting up to the 30th floor. The leftmost paper categorized 3 types of missions: exploration, subjugation, and escape. This prediction had a high probability of being correct for ordinary accounts. It was an actual test I had gone through. However, Taunia's missions often exceeded my expectations. The strategies on the left were just for beginners. As you moved to the right, their importance increased. The structure of the maze I had encountered in the bonus stage was recorded. This map would come into play somehow. I couldn't know in what way, but I had to memorize it. In addition, there were comprehensive specs for Party 1, the status of other parties, as well as the situation in the waiting room. These were all things to keep in mind when planning your strategy. The next evening, anything sent the heroes from the first floor who stole supplies to the 30th floor. I knew the purpose right away. It was a selection team to obtain information on the 30th floor. They were led by Isel and were annihilated before they could last even 5 minutes. Even though they died at the beginning, we managed to obtain one clear piece of information about the 30th floor. Caution: this mission requires 5 parties, a large-scale mission. If you are short of party members, please use paid or free summons to replenish your heroes. The log from the time they were sent out came to mind. I didn't need to investigate the internal situation to know. The 30th floor was Taunia's first large-scale mission. It required 5 parties. Anything sent out a selection team of 5 individuals, and they were completely wiped out. In the official climb, we need 25 people. Anything quickly continued with the plan. The training of the 3rd party was almost complete. It was time to nurture the remaining parties. The frequency of parties 4 and 5 being sent out increased dramatically. They roamed the desert fields, steadily increasing their combat proficiency. Outside of battle, preparations were also in order. Aloka, who had been practicing formations at the training camp, was suddenly taken to the magic hall. The purpose was rapid research. Aloka spent 18 hours a day solving problems. Isn't this a bit too much? I can't help it. It's necessary. Currently, Aloka is the only one in Taunia's research department. To properly manage a raid mission, you needed to raise the research level to at least 5. After 3 days and 3 nights of hard work, Aloka could finally be released. Ding! Research, hero responsiveness has reached level 5. Goddess's blessing descends upon the waiting room. A new function is unlocked. Communication level 1 acquired. Tips/about communication. Smooth communication is the basis of a party. Heroes who have acquired this function will be able to communicate effectively even when the distance between parties is great, increasing the efficiency of coordinated play. With the research level reaching 5, communication was unlocked. The effect of the function was simple: long-distance communication. This meant that even if parties were far apart, they could still communicate. It was essential for missions in vast fields.
While the effect wasn't significant at lower levels, having it was far better than not. I immediately called Edis and explained the function. We can talk even if we're far away? Think of it as magic. The method is... It was similar to when we requested things from the master. Like this. Edis stepped back halfway. I hear a voice in my head. It's fascinating. Give it a try. It might be useful on the 30th floor. All right. Edis closed her eyes. Can you hear me? I hear you clearly. Remember how to use it and inform the other parties. There were some limitations. First, only the leader of the party could use it. Second, communication within the same party was not allowed. The distance wasn't too great, at most about 1 kilometer. As the level of communication increased, these limitations would disappear. It'll be more enhanced when I create items. Currently, there was no enchanter in the waiting room. I decided to leave it at this point. Anything who had unlocked the communication function distributed replay stones to parties 4 and 5. He was trying to make up for the lack of experience in these 2 parties. The equipment workshop was continuously producing gear equipped with heat dissipation and ventilation functions tailored to the desert fields. Various protective items and potions were also being made in abundance. Anything was diligently preparing for the raid. I can't call him a noob gamer anymore. I entered the training camp feeling a subtle sense of unfamiliarity. First, I saw Velkist and Nerissa sparring in the training ground. Jenna was sitting on a bench, swinging her legs. Oppa, it's been hard to see you lately. Seems like you're quite busy. I have a lot of places to visit. I sat down next to Jenna. In principle, I didn't interfere with other parties, but if I acted completely like a stranger, the efficiency of cooperation would decrease. Some level of interaction was necessary for the strategy in large-scale missions. I looked at Velkist and spoke. How long have you been like this?
Since this morning. I haven't rested much. I feel like something big might happen soon. Clang. Nerissa, who lost grip on her rapier, stepped back 3 paces. It seemed like the outcome of their sparring was nearing. Velkist firmly adjusted his sword and said, "Pick your sword, and let's start again." Nerissa pulled her sword, which was stuck in the iron cage, with a tired look. The sparring began again. Velkist exuded heat from his entire body as he relentlessly attacked Nerissa. There's not much time left. The trajectory of the sword was changing. The condition for intermediate swordsmanship that Rygion had mentioned, I felt that I was subtly building my own domain. If he obtained a slight trigger, he would immediately break through the barrier. Oppa is impressive, though. In a way, he seems to be working even harder than Eren. It feels like he's staking his life on it, not just practicing, even during sparring. Jenna said with a wry smile. And are we not staking our lives on this too? If someone hears you say this casually, they might think we're just playing around. I placed my hand on Jenna's head and stood up. Nerissa was retreating with sweat pouring down. She had focused on auxiliary skills related to information exploration and traps rather than pure combat skills, despite undergoing extensive training. Now, the gap between her and Velkist, a pure combatant, had widened considerably. Bang! Velkist, who had evaded Nerissa's rapier, took a stance. His ultra-fast and powerful thrust pierced into Nerissa's chest. I immediately rushed out and opened the training ground door, then moved my right hand. The sword, drawn like a flash of light, deflected Velkist's thrust. Nerissa, step back. I'll take care of this guy. Sorry. Nerissa bowed to me and left the training ground. Where have you been since morning that you're so late? I've been waiting all day. My apologies for being late. I drew my sword. It was worth coming to Party 1 at all. If I were in Party 2, I wouldn't have had this experience. When did you become so talkative? Velkist chuckled. At the same time, he swung his sword explosively. This guy... His natural talent is inferior to Jenna's, but his fighting spirit is tremendous. No matter how many times I defeated him, he would get up and come back for more. If it hadn't been for this level of determination, I would have kept Eren, even if it meant forcing it. I laughed and dashed out. That night, Velkist reached intermediate swordsmanship. During the process, I was able to raise my own swordsmanship to level 3. More time passed. Status window. Han Israt, 3 stars. Level 29. EXP 13 out of 160. Class Warrior. Strength 62 out of 62. Intelligence 10 out of 10. Health 58 out of 58. Agility 57 out of 57. Skills. Intermediate Swordsmanship, Level 3. Heavenly Sword Spirit, Level 1. Power Strike, Level 2. Insight, Level 6. Fire Resistance, Level 3. Pain Resistance, Level 6. Composure, Level 6. Frenzy, Level 8. Invincible, Level 3. Dragon Slayer, Level 1. Equestrianism, Level 1. My specs had already reached their limits. Intermediate Swordsmanship was now at Level 3. Power Strike had reached Level 2, and I could also improve Composure, Frenzy, and even Invincible. However, there was one regret. They don't synergize. Composure and Frenzy were clearly supposed to work together, but they hadn't perfectly complemented each other yet. I decided not to rush it. With more experience and training, it would naturally be resolved. The statuses of the other members weren't much different. Their levels were in the late 20s, and they had raised their skill levels as much as possible. Handling a few minor tasks would not be a problem if they were to participate immediately tomorrow. I tightened the ring on my left hand. A chilling sensation traveled up my fingers. With my right hand, I wrote down the patterns and strategies of the missions I had observed as a master. I couldn't predict exactly what kind of mission would come up. However, that didn't mean I would let my guard down. The 30th floor would be more challenging than the 20th. I was sure of that much. While Pick Me Up may seem like a game of luck at first glance, it has its own rules. The fact that an easy mission appeared meant that a much more demanding one would later come. The overall difficulty of the game never followed a downward curve. It only got tougher as you went deeper. However, within that, you could achieve relative strength. All you had to do was become stronger and prepare more thoroughly. I'm not turning back yet. I gave up on staying in Niflheim to raise my own abilities. This was a kind of test, whether I could survive in this world with my own strength. It wasn't much different than when I first decided to survive in this world. The only difference was, I glanced at the desk. A crumpled cake was placed on a white plate. Jenna had made it, as she always thanked me for my hard work. I picked up a piece with a fork and ate it. Not very tasty. It's too sweet. I reluctantly ate the cake. If possible, I didn't want to taste that bitter feeling, like on the 5th floor. And so, another night faded away.
Chapter 115. The next day, in the afternoon, the leaders of the 5 parties gathered in the lobby on the 3rd floor of the accommodations. Among them were Edis, Kashasha, myself, and 2 others. We were there to finalize our plans before departure. "I didn't expect you to be here," Edis said, glancing at Kashasha. Kashasha chuckled. "We're all here with a mission. I have no intention of neglecting it." "Thank you," Edis replied with a slight nod. "You may not be a seasoned warrior, but you have good manners. That is admirable," Edis added, turning away and taking a deep breath. I wasn't the one who gathered these 5. Edis had volunteered to lead. After exhaling, she began. "I've called you all here to establish a command structure." "A command structure? What does that mean?" someone asked. "With 25 members on the mission team, we need to appoint a captain. Too many cooks spoil the broth, after all," I replied. "Ah, so you mean to appoint a leader warrior. It's easy to decide. Just pick the strongest," someone suggested. "Being strong doesn't guarantee the ability to lead everyone well," Edis said, shaking her head. Then she looked at me, sitting at the side of the table. "I recommend Han. Among us, he has the most experience in missions, and his judgments and instructions are accurate. Anyone who's fought with him would agree." Edis glanced at Kashasha and smiled lightly. "He's a seasoned warrior." "Indeed, there should be no objections if we choose the Dragon Slayer warrior. However, we fight independently. It's not about fighting together." That means, "We'll do it that way," I nodded. "But Han, the way the beast folk fight is different from ours. Trying to force them to work together isn't effective," Edis said. "You know very well, warrior. Of course, we are not ignorant of the meaning of cooperation. We will respect your opinion within the mission," Kashasha added. "I already knew it would be like this. The subraces and pick-me-up are generally stronger than humans, but tend to be less cooperative. It's better to leave them be than to cause conflict by forcing cooperation. Of course, if the mission requires it, I'll ask for their help." "Are you Han?" a middle-aged man in the corner asked. He had a greatsword slung on his back. "Yeah." "I'm Raymond from the Fourth Party. I've heard a lot about you. Do we just follow your orders?" I narrowed my eyes. "Yes, but I'll only give you basic instructions. The rest you figure out." "Ah, I see. You can be kinder with your words," Edis marked. "Don't add to it," I replied, glancing at the two newcomers. They seemed experienced, especially in missions, but this was their first boss stage. There was a subtle tension on their faces. "Let me say this in advance. No matter what happens, don't panic. Those who panic die first. There's always a way to survive. Just remember that." "See, you can do it when you try—" Ugh, I cut her off with a firm step on her foot. The brief introduction was over. Next, I gave basic guidelines to the two new leaders. Never panic, no matter who among your team dies. Maintain composure in any situation. Remember teamwork. Lastly, I said, "What is it? If you plan to fight recklessly, quit now. We've come a long way. We have no such intentions." They'll understand when they see. Boss stages are completely different. If they do their part here and survive, I might acknowledge them as proper parties, but not now. The meeting dispersed. The scheduled date for the expedition was today. I returned to my room and put on the leather armor hanging on the stand. It had been modified for desert use, with white cloth wrapped around the connecting parts to block the sun's rays. Then I packed the potions in my pouch. The supply distribution was completed yesterday. 3 bottles of low-level health potions and 2 bottles of heat resistance potions. I also added a water container filled to the brim for replenishing fluids. Click. I strapped 7 throwing knives into the knife pouch around my waist and then securely fastened Bifrost's scabbard to my belt. When I opened the door and stepped out, 4 members of the first party were waiting. "Are you ready?" "We're all set." "There's nothing more to do." "Have you written your will?" "Why? Did you write one, Senior?" "Of course I didn't. We're not planning to die here. Right, everyone? Once again, Oppa will lead us." "Aren't you relying on me too much?" "Your words are different. Usually you tell me to follow orders." I laughed and said, "Let's go." The 4 of us stood up. They looked tense, but relaxed. They had experienced their fair share of tough missions. No matter what situation arises, they will give their best. While walking through the corridor with the members of the first party, lights appeared in the sky. "Welcome to Pick Me Up. Now loading. Loading complete. Touch, select." The main screen of Pick Me Up appeared. Anything immediately accessed the game and pressed the rift of time and space. Along with the status of the tower's ascent, the party selection screen appeared. Now, first party. Izel's voice echoed throughout the waiting room. "Second, third, fourth, and fifth parties assemble on the first floor of the accommodations." When I looked to the side, the faces of the second party were emerging from the opposite corridor. Edis led them, followed by Roderick, Anand, Bennick, and Lilia. Edis looked at me and said, "We will be more helpful than on the 20th floor." "What are you talking about?" "Forming the first attack unit small. Party formation. First party, second party, third party, fourth party, and fifth party. Total hero power, 25. Commander, none. Recommended commander, Han, 3 stars. A majority of party members recommend Han. Do you want to appoint Han, 3 stars, as the commander?" "Yes." I chuckled bitterly and went down the stairs. As we descended to the lower floor, the group expanded, from 10 to 15 and then to 25. Before I knew it, there was a procession behind me. "The number of participants is increasing. Are we going to have hundreds of people going out in the end?" Iloka said, sounding exasperated. When I didn't answer, Iloka widened her eyes. "Is it really going to be like that?" "You'll know when the time comes, won't you?" We arrived at the plaza on the first floor. The rift of time and space was already open. "All of you, you know it just by looking, right? It's the 30th floor. Don't take it lightly and fail. Do your best without bothering Han. Han, fighting. Iselle showed me her clenched fist and disappeared in a flash of light. You are quite popular. I'm jealous. Don't pay her any attention. I took a deep breath. Each party was gathering in the plaza for their final preparations. They checked their armor and equipment, making sure they were in top condition. I conveyed the mission's precautions. Come in when you're done. Iselle won't wait long. I stepped into the rift of time and space. The first party followed, then the second party. Climb the tower, save the world.
Main Dungeon. Current Ascent Floor 29. The heroes entered one by one. I leaned against the wall and fastened my scabbard. The faces of the people were filled with tension. Everyone, if you stay focused, you can survive, Jenna said in a firm voice. I chuckled. That depends. No more words were exchanged. Light began to pour out of the rift of time and space, the feeling of being disassembled and familiar at the same time. When I opened my eyes again, a desert. As expected, from the 21st to the 30th floor, 10 floors were assigned to one field. The sand-mixed wind brushed against my entire body. I pulled my hood down deeply. This place. A city? Is it a city? I'm not sure. I looked around. Square stone buildings stretched out like a checkerboard. However, all the buildings were buried in sand, from the entrance to the windows. White sand filled the buildings from the entrance to the inside. It seems quite old. I touched the wall. It's heavily weathered. It's been abandoned for at least 100 years. I took a sip from my water and muttered. If you hear me, answer. Is that you, Han? It was Edis's voice. Yeah, it's Han from the first party. Where are you now? 25 of us were summoned, but there's only the first party here. We've come to a strange city-like place. There's a lot of sand, and the weather is scorching. How about you? I'm in the same situation. Let's meet up first. Come to the city center. You'll find it even without me explaining. I'll be there soon. Click. A grating noise echoed in my ears. It was the expected noise when the communication ended. Are there any other parties? Yes, this is Raymond from the fourth party. Tell the fourth party to come here too. Try contacting the others as well. It seems like we can't reach them due to the distance. Understood. I rubbed my ear. Raymond's voice cut off. All the parties seemed to be separated. Gathering our strength was the top priority. Cough! Why is there so much sand? Aloka coughed, waving her hand. The city was constantly battered by sandstorms. The weather is the worst, Nerissa said, covering her mouth with a cloth. The members covered their faces and took heat-resistant supplements. Nerissa, please lead the way to the city center. Sure. Oh, and try to find Princess Priasis. She might be here. Nerissa nodded and disappeared into the sandstorm. Let's move to the designated location. The formation was ready. I was in the front, Jenna and Aloka in the middle, and Velkist in the rear. The visibility isn't great. Yeah, it's not great. Be careful of ambushes. I know. We continued walking. The mission objective window had not appeared yet. There was no sign of enemies either. Suddenly, Jenna spoke. I'm getting anxious if nothing happens at the beginning like this. Don't say unlucky things, Aloka said, looking disgusted. I continued walking. The yellow sand obscured our vision. Second party, fourth party. Here. Listening. Do you see a peculiar building in the city center? Gather there. Beyond the thick sandstorm, the outline of a massive temple could be seen. It was clear from the goddess statue on the rooftop. We found it. Us too. And we've contacted the other parties as well. We'll relay the message. Understood. Click. I ended the communication. At the same time, I reached for my scabbard. A faint shadow appeared from a nearby building. The shadow jumped down nimbly from under the roof, carrying someone on its shoulders. I found Princess Priasis. She collapsed in the middle of the street, Nerissa said, gently laying Priasis on the ground. I raised my hand. Jenna and Velkist assumed defensive positions. There's a possibility of a trap. I signaled to Aloka. Aloka's magical wave passed through Priasis. She's the real one. What is she doing here? It looks like she collapsed from overexertion.
I took out a potion of vitality and put it in Priasis's mouth. She drank it, guggling it down. Her eyelids trembled and then lifted. "Hun, did we help you all the way here just to die?" "Just to find the key." "Is this the right place?" "I'm certain. It matches the scenery I saw in my dream. It's here." I took out a heat-resistant supplement and offered it to her. Priasis swallowed it with the potion. Her eyelids trembled before finally opening. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. This place, even in the middle of the desert, has particularly harsh conditions. Without thorough preparation, we could quickly become guests of the relentless desert." Priasis bowed her head. "I'm sorry. Stick close to Jenna. If anything happens, hide immediately." Priasis nodded and stood in the middle of the group, with Jenna and Velkist protecting her. The formation changed to protect Priasis in the center. At the same time, the mission window appeared. Floor 30. Mission type: Exploration. Objective: blank. Special objective: Survival of NPC Priasis Alragna. This is it. I clicked my tongue and continued walking. The sandstorm continued to rage.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.